What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another Tottenham update, and let's get straight into it, starting with Arne Slot. Romano saying that negotiations will take place in the next hours between Feyenoord and Arne Slot's representative to discuss conditions of his possible exit. Compensation is a crucial point. Then he goes on to say that Slot is the front runner for the Spurs job, but there are other candidates that remain in the list. 1908 NL, which is the final publication, say that Feyenoord are compiling a list of potential successors in anticipation of the departure of head coach Arne Slot to Tottenham, and David Heitner says that Tottenham are weighing up an approach for Feyenoord manager Arne Slot.
So only weighing up an approach.
Yeah.
Look, it seems like it's gathering pace, the Arne Slot news, which is encouraging. And I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. I think he's going to be a good fit for Tottenham. And all the noise surrounding Arne Slot, which I'm reading, seems very, very positive. I can't really see a downside apart from the fact he's only managed in Holland. So it seems as though this one is a goer. And I think that Arne Slot, and the way he can get us playing, will excite the fans. So that's a positive.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a few quotes have come out from Arne Slot over the past couple of days talking about his feelings about football and the way he likes to play the game, and also his man management style, and it also seems absolutely spot on. But in terms of the way he likes to play the game, he says he gets a lot of ideas and a lot of kind of motivations from Pep Guardiola, which is obviously going to be music to all of our ears.
Definitely. And in terms of man management, apparently one of his biggest strengths is really engaging with like modern day footballers, because the modern day football players nowadays are very different to how they were maybe 10 or 20 years ago, which is maybe where, you know, Conte and Mourinho started managing football, and maybe they're a bit out of touch maybe with how modern players are motivated and what they're motivated by, albeit they have been successful maybe in other clubs, but maybe in England it's different, or at Spurs it's different anyway. So maybe Arne Slot can maybe change that and really get the players on side.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially Mourinho. Mourinho just didn't understand how to bring that man management into this century, albeit he is doing a very good job at Roma, so maybe he is learning a bit. But let's move on. Let's talk about Manuel Ugarte now. A publication called Ebola saying that Tottenham and Aston Villa are currently battling it out for sporting midfielder Manuel Ugarte, who has a release clause of 60 million euros.
Yeah, I mean, I also read in that article that they said they expect the 60 million pound fee, 60 million euro fee to be met, which is quite a significant fee for a team like Tottenham, who are definitely have quite decent midfielders right now, as we speak. And if money is going to be a bit tighter because we've got no Champions League football, do we really want to be spending 60 million euros on a central midfielder? As much as I'm a fan of his, and I'm not against him signing, but it does seem quite a steep price for a position of strength, I would say. Yeah,
I would say, like, if we are going to spend that kind of money, it's obvious that we can't spend that kind of money on every position that we're going for, but we need to be looking at goalkeeper and defence first and foremost. But then again, we need to not be looking at transfers probably until a new manager comes in.
Definitely. I don't know why we're... I mean, I understand why we're being linked with players because the papers need someone to talk about, but we shouldn't be making any bids or having any transfers lined up until a manager knows what he wants, has assessed the squad and knows exactly what we should be bringing in. So I completely agree with that. And we've seen it before as well, where we've spent money in positions where maybe it was less important and we've discarded maybe more pressing positions. And we keep saying, look, I'd rather spend in this position, although I would never say no to an upgrade, but at the end of the day we keep abandoning our weakest points, and that's costing us.
Yeah, case in point, bringing in Richarlison for 60 million and bringing in Longley on a stopgap on loan. So that's case in point, which brings us on to Clement Longley now, because Ali Gold saying the financial issues at Barcelona could see Tottenham get Longley on a lower fee. Santi Avale says that Longley wants to speak with the new manager to decide if he will continue at Tottenham. He has not yet agreed on the continuity, but he does want to stay at Tottenham.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Considering the playing time he's gotten, I think he maybe he's getting a bit of his confidence back. But I just don't think it's worth it for Tottenham to sign him up, unless maybe we're selling Ben Davis. Then maybe I'm not against it. But I don't want to see both again at the club competing for the same position. Maybe if Davis is back up left back and Longley's back up centre back, but again, that's just too many average players around. I think we need to start upping the quality and the technical ability, and I don't know if Davis has it in him anymore to play left back at a good level. To be honest, like, I think he was once a good left back, but now if he's not going to be a left centre back, I don't know if I want him.
Exactly, and if we are going to bring in Arne Slot, does either of those players fit into that system? I'm not so sure. I think Longley has shown probably is better in a back three than a back two. Davis can't play in a back two, and I don't think that he would want him as a left back in that system. So if Arne Slot is to be the manager, I get it if we were playing a back three system, and maybe if Amarim was to come in or something like that, I could get it a little bit more. But in an Arne Slot system, does it make sense?
Probably not. To be fair, we haven't seen much of Longley in a back four. I don't know if he played. Did he play in that famous Newcastle game? He might have done.
I'm not sure if he played in that famous Newcastle game, but he was getting found out time and time again in a Barcelona back four.
Yeah, but that's fair enough. But it's I guess different at Tottenham. Like maybe under a different system. I don't know. We haven't seen much of him in a back four, but. And theoretically, if you think about whether he would work in a high line, you'd probably think no, because he's not the quickest. So, albeit I do think he's quite good on the ball, and maybe he'll be good in possession for us. But defensively, he's still suspect, and I don't know if we have an Arne Slot, if he would fit into that system.
He didn't play at the Newcastle game. It was Dyer Romero at the back, by the way. But let's talk about Ivan Perisic now. Ali Gold says that Perisic is also being tipped to head out the exit door at Tottenham this summer, and this one makes complete sense, to be honest. Especially
if someone like Arne Slot's coming in and he's going to move to a back four. As much as I think Perisic is a decent winger, I think you don't really want a 34, 35-year-old winger on as part of your side. I think you'd rather a young, fresher winger who has the legs to really press incessantly and has that pace to run in behind and get to the byline. Perisic is obviously still got legs, and he's still a good player, and he's still got really good crossing ability. But I feel like as a winger, I don't think he's as good anymore when he doesn't have that space to take people on one-on-one and consistently beat them. And then as a left-back, defensively he's shocking, so you don't want him at left-back. So the only real position for me he can play consistently well is left wing-back going forward anyway. And we're not going to be playing that system anyway, so it doesn't make sense to keep him around.
I mean, at the World Cup, he was playing left wing, and he had a really good World Cup. He did show his quality, but would you?
Short space of time.
Yeah, but would you say with Ivan Perisic that it could be worth keeping him around just as a squad player on the bench, like coming on in the latter stages of games if we're desperate for a goal and stuff to show that quality?
It depends, because we have. What we're going to do with Danjuma, and that makes a difference as well. We have Son and Richarlison who can both play off the left right now. So is there any need to keep someone like Perisic? So I guess he's versatile, but if he's keeping a space in the squad for maybe a younger player to join, then I'm happy to cut our losses.
Could be that leadership quality in there as well, that experience, that been there, done that.
Yeah, that could help. That could help. I'm not saying he doesn't have his qualities, but if he's like, where are we going to play him?
That's what I'm saying. Like keeping him as a bench role, coming on if we need something at the end of games.
Yeah,
his contract is up in a year's time anyway. So I mean, look, let's be honest. Would he want to stick around for that role anyway? He'll probably want to go back to Inter or something and play week in, week out, which he probably can do. But I'm just saying, from our side, from our maybe a selfish side of ours, would that not be a good role for him?
It would be a good role for him. I'm not against it, but I'd rather have a younger player.
Fair enough. Let's move on and let's talk about Deki. Ali Gold saying that Dejan Kulusevski's loan from Juventus is expected to be made permanent, and it is no coincidence that the Swede's image was splashed all over the promotion material for Spurs' summer trip to Thailand for a friendly match against Leicester, which is expected to take place after his loan deal ends.
There you go. So let's just announce this already. I think the longer it goes on, the more uncertainty will creep in that it won't actually happen. There's already been talk about him potentially considering his options, but it looks as though it's a foregone conclusion. I think he's happy here. I think Tottenham are happy with him as well, as much as he didn't have the best season, and I think under a new manager he'll flourish. So I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, he's had a poor season, there's no doubt about it. Had injuries all season, to be honest. Hasn't really kicked on from the back end of last season. But I think under a new attacking manager, high-pressing manager, I think he's really going to come on leaps and bounds. So I'm very excited to see what a potential, maybe if it is Arne Slot, what he can do with Dejan Kulusevski. But let's move on and let's talk about Harry Kane now. And Romano says the intention at Tottenham is to keep Harry Kane or not to sell to a club in England. 90 Minutes saying it is understood that there is not a huge confidence at Manchester United that they'll be able to secure a deal for Harry Kane. But The Guardian and Jacob Steinberg says that Man United are planning to move quickly for Harry Kane this summer.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because you don't want it to drag on all summer, do you? Because that's where Spurs want it like kind of where Levy likes it, kind of a long drawn out process. I think from Man United's perspective, I think you probably try and get it done early, and if not, you just move on to your next target and not dally on this deal, because that's what Levy does. He drags out deals and he tries to get the best price, and you could end up with nothing at the end as well. So I think that makes complete sense. They want to move quickly, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But it does seem interesting, and obviously with the assumption that he's not going to sign, what we do with Harry Kane, because would you rather sell now? I mean, even would you, if let's say he was willing to move abroad, let's say to Real Madrid or something, or Bayern Munich, would you sell for like a lower fee abroad right now? If it's guaranteed he's not going to sign, or would you like let him move to Man United on a free?
I think I would.
You would sell?
I think I would, because I don't want it to get to a stage where it comes to the end of his contract and he's got all these offers coming on the table, maybe a Pochettino Chelsea offer, maybe a Man United offer, any offer from the Premier League. I mean, it would just break my heart to see him play for any other team in the Premier League, never mind a Chelsea. So I think it'd be in Tottenham's best interest to sell him this summer if an offer from abroad comes about.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he'll want to go abroad though, will he? So whether that's a discussion to be had remains to be seen. But I just can't see him Levy dealing with Man United this summer. I just can't see it. I can't see him getting to a stage where he's happy with a fee that Man United are willing to give him. I just
even
think
100 million.
I don't. But my point is, I don't think Man United are going to be willing to go there.
But let's say if they were to go there,
it's a tough one. I think he'll probably accept it if it was
100 million is a hell of a lot of money for especially a player with 1 year left in his contract.
And I guess it gives Slot money for the bit of a rebuild. You're never look. At the end of the day, you're never going to get a striker of the same level of Harry Kane. So there's no point even trying to. You have to just go for a younger player who's got more potential, stuff like that, who's going to cost a lot less. But I guess if it gets to 100 million, I think he's probably he'll still try and squeeze more, knowing Levy, but I think he'll probably accept it in the end of the day. But I don't think they'll go 100 million. I can't see him going that high.
Yeah, me neither. But I guess we'll have to. I mean, this one, as much as they say they want to, go in quickly and plan for it quickly, that's never going to happen. If Man United come in, this one will rumble on all the way till the end of the window.
Yeah, they might move. They might think, okay, I want an Osimhen instead of just move on.
Yeah, if they can get Osimhen. I mean, I've seen the prices banded around for Osimhen are even crazier. I mean, they're talking about 150 to 200 million for him. But, that might be worth it. 24 years of age, I think he is. Absolutely smashed it in Serie A this year. So I think probably when you're looking at the two players, obviously Kane's a better player, but Osimhen might provide better value.
Probably because of his age, and also he's a quicker player as well. So if you're implementing more of a pressing system, then he might be a better fit in a weird way.
All right, and last but not least, Tottenham youth player Calum Oluseyi. Romano says that Tottenham have been able to keep the talented midfielder Calum Oluseyi. A new deal until June 2026 has been agreed despite strong interest from multiple English clubs. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to say I've watched Oluseyi a lot because he's a 16-year-old midfielder, so I don't know too much about him. All the commentary I can say on this is that it's interesting that Ali Gold said yesterday in his article that Tottenham are going to start providing more competitive salaries for our youth players and trying to keep hold of a lot more of our academy players, and maybe this is a sign of that. Whereas maybe in years gone by we would have let Calum Oluseyi go. Now we're maybe offering a more competitive salary compared to our rivals within it, with the intent of keeping him.
Yeah, and I hope that rings true for someone like Romain Mundle as well, because a lot of people have been speaking about him over the past 6 months or so, and it looks as though he could be going out the exit door. So I think we need to do our best efforts to really keep the best talent of this academy.
I don't know if Mundle, though, is a salary issue. It might be, but I don't know specifically.
Probably a pathway issue.
I was thinking he's 19. Like, at that age, yes, he's still very young, and he's still got his whole career ahead of him. But the fact of the matter is, he's not even getting even a cameo appearance at Tottenham at this point. So why would he stay at Tottenham? With Oluseyi, he's 16, it's a bit different. You can't expect any game time at that age. But at 19, especially when you've been on the bench and we've needed a player like Mundle, and if he's still not getting even a minute, like, I can understand why he's getting a bit frustrated with that. Yeah,
and I think when your manager is someone like Antonio Conte, like, you're going to get frustrated. But I think with an Arne Slot coming in, or if he is going to come in, you would expect someone of like a Romain Mundle to get a few more minutes.
Problem is he might be gone by then.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
But if he knows, like obviously he's inside the club, he's living and breathing the club every day, and if he knows something like that is going to happen, then maybe he should just give it another year or two to see how it goes.
Yeah, it depends how loyal or how much he, I don't know if he's a Tottenham boy or not. It depends how much he wants to succeed at Tottenham, or he just wants to play anywhere. Depends on his mindset.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. That is our Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the news stories we've brought to you today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.